Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on? Everything all right?
I think everything.
What's the big issue right now?
What's the big issue right now? Well, I think that Nantucket is in pretty good shape as far as the economy is starting to show signs of coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, Nantucket's always sort of been somewhat outside of the news cycle of the economy in the rest of the country to some degree.
Yeah.
You know,
well, we used to think it a lot more.
I mean, we've always had a way to survive here. I think that this, as far as this airport issue, I think we've got the right people at the airport, in the airport commission, and I think that things are going to move forward with the town and the airport working together. I think that's really important.
What's wrong with the airport right now?
Well, I mean, all the different issues that have been in the paper,
the money
and everything. I mean, I don't have the details. I think everybody has their own take on that from what they've read over the last, 6 or 8 months. But I think that the right steps are being taken. It's going to solve this issue long term, hopefully. And I trust the town, and I trust the people that are doing it.
Now, why aren't you on the airport commission? I mean,
I don't need to be.
But you're on the planning commission.
Planning commission and planning board is, and what I do at the steamship is all I can do. And we've got a lot of good people. Gino, that's one. I'm glad you brought that up. Gino, everybody has their place, and I think you're starting to see the right people in the right places. We've got a really good board of selectmen right now. We've got a really good FinCom. I mean, we have people that are given tons of time. That's why we're here at this event here at the Civic League today. There are a lot of people that are very interested in what they're doing, and they're making a difference in their own board or commission. So you don't have to be on the selectmen to make a difference. You don't have to be on the planning board to make a difference. You can make a difference in a lot of different places, and I think you're starting to see that. And I attended some FinCom meetings this year for the first time, and I'll tell you what, it's quite a process. Those guys need to be given a lot of credit. The time that they put in for 3 months is unbelievable. I mean, they're cramming a year's worth of meetings into 3 or 4 months, and that's a lot. And what you see come out on that warrant every year and all the stuff that they're doing takes a lot of time.
Yep. But you might get some people saying it's not enough.
Well,
there's too much spending.
I mean, there's always going to be too much spending. I believe that. I'm a libertarian Republican. Believe me, I think we have too much payroll, too much cost, too much everything. But you can't fix it the way somebody might think on the outside. You just can't all of a sudden start getting rid of people.
Right.
It just isn't going to happen.
Right.
There has to be a systematic, slow process to get more efficient. Certain departments get changed, just like the federal government is just bloated with payroll. I mean, this happened over Republicans and Democrats. It wasn't one party or one president. This stuff happened over 25, 35 years of time. So it's going to take the rest of our lifetime to see things change if it's ever going to happen. I really believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen enough just with what I do with the Planning Commission, because I see a lot of state stuff with the Planning Commission. Oh my God. I mean, there are people just sending paper just to keep their job. I mean, there is stuff that happens that is just a job justification thing. It's not so much that it's even needed. It's just they're in this position. They send these reports, and there's all these procedures to do different things.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about
when you're getting paid to do something,
you got
that you're doing it.
Exactly. And it's like with the bicycle pass. That's our, I guess I would say our the best lesson for Nantucket residents.
Are you happy with that?
Yes.
Okay.
But let me explain something about that, just so that it's understood. When you see all these bike paths get built, we're not paying for them out of our general fund for the most part. Some of it, like engineering and certain things, but like what you saw on Cliff Road, that took a long time to get that done. The reason that Hummock Pond Road got put on the back burner, it really wasn't on the back burner, it's just that Cliff Road wasn't finished. So we couldn't just get rid of Cliff Road and then switch over to that. It isn't like we can do whatever we want. The tip process is so complicated that you have to follow the state's procedures in order to get have to kind of play a game.
Yeah.
If we want to raise money to do it ourselves, we can do it.
Yeah.
But it's going to cost a lot, and people are probably
we'd
not
have to pay for it ourselves.
Right, and people are probably not going to vote for every one of those. Now, the reason
but wait a minute.
they saw Hummock Pond as important.
Let me stop you for a second, because I think this is part of the issue that we're both agreeing about spending.
Yep.
Because whether you spend your own money or you get somebody else's money, you're still spending money.
All right, okay.
And still,
now,
those people that it's costing.
All right. Let me give you an answer to that question. Now, that's a good one. Okay, Gino? And again, you're talking to a Republican libertarian thinker. This is a very difficult thing to answer, so I'm going to do the best I can. The money that the state provides us through these programs, this TIP program, is something that's been established since the early 90s. It's a federal program that went to each state. It's called T21 legislation. It's actually George Bush 1 that started that. I can't turn around and say no to this until the whole thing has changed. In other words, that's what we've got right now. Someday, maybe that will change, but that's at another level. And now, I'm not one of these kind of people that says, well, if we don't spend the money, somebody else will.
That's an earmark.
It's an earmark legislation. It's not an earmark for Nantucket. We get a certain amount of money out of the legislation that was done 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So it's kind of like an earmarked bill of a whole process. If that goes away, something like Chapter 90 is the same kind of thing. I talked to a guy from the state last year about this. Chapter 90 is an old system. That's how we get money for roads that you see small things done. Nantucket gets, $1 million a year or whatever it is. I don't know what the exact number is. I feel personally that the T21 TIP process for the alternative things like bike paths, sidewalks, stuff like that, should all be changed and go into Chapter 90. Because you would be able to get rid of a lot of waste and get it condensed into one program that's been around for years. It's not anything new. This is what happens. You get these government programs that get all very complicated, and then you have to hire somebody here, and then you have to have somebody doing this over there, and all of a sudden you've got all these different people just sifting money around trying to figure out how we're going to do something.
Would we have gotten that, would we have started that bike path if that private person hadn't come up and said, I'll give you $500,000?
Yes, we would have still done it. We would have still went to the voters, but we've got some money. Well, the private money thing sort of got, I guess, jump-started to get the surveying work done faster. That was more pushing the process, but as far as the funding goes, we just got some money at the planning board the other day from an applicant out in Eel Point that we may be able to use towards that as well. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, so there's going to be more money repaying the taxpayers of Nantucket once this is done, possibly more than that $500,000.
Well, we're counting on the Republican libertarian to make sure
it's not just me, but I mean, I'm just telling you that.
I know.
I'm telling you how this stuff works, and it is really complicated. And another thing with the bike pass, and this is something that I said at one of the public hearings on the Tom Nevers bike lane idea. The last bicycle path that was built sort of like the old Nantucket way was Matticat. Yeah. You're never going to see that again. Right. It's never going to happen again, where we just kind of just get the machines out and start paving. It's not going to happen.